truck video?
No, I didn't see it, bro. You gotta tell Eddie Trunk to check out my band sometime, bro.
Yeah. I saw a couple of photos. Wire sent a couple of photos of you performing there with the Strat, the
Oh,
Telecaster, and
shit.
such.
Yeah, that was actually from this weekend. I played the stadium on Friday and then another show on Sunday.
All
Yeah, it
right,
was awesome. It was legendary.
all right. That sounds interesting. All right, give me a couple of seconds here and let everybody know what's going on. All right, there. So give me a couple minutes there. Everything's going good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Music Maniacs with myself, YR, and Paul 3. I guess we're going to get Prince Sato on the call just as well. And not much real topics to talk about other than the music news that's going on right now that YR sent me. One of them is about Brian May, the guitarist from Queen. Apparently, he suffered what is called a minor stroke, I guess it was.
There's a lot of news around, but real quick, did you, looking at your community post, you actually got to meet and greet with DJ Vane this weekend, Brown. Is this true?
Yes, yes. Well, actually, DJ Vane, she's like a resident DJ who often spins at the castle. She often does the ones and twos there. She was there last Saturday. She knows who I am. I know who she is. She's like, it's great to see you that night. So I figure I post the little thing there and give her a shout out. We
Now that
spoke.
look nice. Are you
Go ahead.
going to the? You were singing some songs this week,
What's up?
and
Mm.
you were singing some songs this week, Brown. I was seeing.
I was singing
Uh,
some songs. Oh yeah, that's right. The little thing there. Yeah. What I get this. I wanted they played "Come Together" by the Beatles. I was going to upload it as a short to give
really?
the Beatles a shout out, but unfortunately the video got blocked, obviously because of copyright issues. So I had to delete the whole dang thing. But I was able
So
to
the
upload
Beatles
little
were great.
shorts. What up?
The Beatles, like Ozzy, Black Sabbath stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Really like Ozzy stuff, like all out that strict. You can't upload.
I
They were
know.
playing. They were playing that at the thing.
Yeah, but they did this at my job. They often have a radio playing lots of music, a variety of things, whether it's the Silvers or a Luther Vandross or something like Sheryl Crow or whoever comes to mind, that Buddy Holly song from Weezer. It's all a variety of stuff. But problem is, I would be more happier if they played a lot of more 70s stuff, whether it's rock or funk or whatever it was, because I'm never, I don't like hearing Sheryl Crow almost all the time. I was never big on her, let alone Madonna. In fact, what I do usually is I just play whatever drama shows on my phone, whether it's from your channel, my channel, or Mars Mirror's old shows that he used to do back in the day with Drama Club and such.
The greatest female, I don't want to say singer, but just uh, performer, whatever,
Hmm.
in my opinion. And then look, this isn't like I'm saying she has talent, but I'm just saying maybe iconic, maybe just the sound of the '90s is
Hmm.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, it is
You know,
true. There, a lot of people have been saying, giving her a lot of credit because in a lot of ways she kind of sparked the right angry girl movement that followed years on down the line.
Paul Three's band is doing these big stadiums now, and what was that all about, Paul Three? Like that was
Yeah, I heard it was
like
a stadium show you did with your group there.
Yeah,
giant
we
stage.
played Giant Stadium. No, we
That
played
is,
it was actually a rib festival, like
mm,
for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we played at
mm,
their stadium with like a really, really popular band from the area. And
ah,
this band was actually on David Letterman 20 years ago, and they just like draw a huge crowd. So they
ah,
asked us to open, and it was like a huge honor. And dude, it was so cool, man. Our dressing room was right by the Steelers locker room, and I ran out onto the field. I got yelled at. I
Oh,
like dove
geez.
into the end zone. I got a touchdown. I kind of got yelled at. They were nice about it, but no, it was an epic night, dude. We made a lot of connections, and it was just really good for the band. And right now, like we're just locally, everybody kind of knows who we are at this point.
That's good to know there.
Yeah.
You didn't go streaking, did you?
No,
Because
but
I
I did.
brought it because when you mentioned you ran out in the field, that reminded me of that one streaker who did that on a couple of games in the past. I think it may have been football or something like that. In fact, that's what inspired a song called "The Streak" that came
Yeah,
out
Ray
years ago in
Stevens.
the 1970s. That song came out.
That's a great
Brown,
song.
Brown, can you play the Eddie Trunk phone
Get up.
call
Okay, let me
on
see if I can find it here. Give me a couple minutes.
now? Just plenty of news. We're going to get into the news and everything, but so we do have some side pieces. And Eddie Trunk was talking about like pet peeves at concerts. Paul Three is a professional musician. He has his own band in the Pennsylvania area.
Hmm.
Famous local band, almost like Pantera, almost like the Toadies, are the local bands of Texas.
Logo favorites.
Your Toadies, your
Kind of.
Pantera.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're talking about. Like he's big in his area. They play his music on the radio. All Three opens for Blue Oyster Cult. Who was the other band? What was?
No, we've opened for Quiet Riot,
Mm.
Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Oh,
There's a couple
Texas
other ones.
own.
Vanilla Fudge.
Mm.
Yeah, a bunch of bands.
With Carmine Appice under drums.
Yep, he was there.
Nice.
Yep, he was there. Met him. All the guys except for the bass player because the original bass player is dead.
Oh,
But yeah, it was all the original guys. Really, really nice guy.
nice. Good to hear.
Well, like coming from. I mean, there's obviously the obvious is people don't like people using phones. People don't like smoking. People don't like other things. But Paul Three coming from someone who's on the stage, what don't you like to see? Do you mind people reporting? What don't you like seeing in the audience? Like fights,
Well,
water
I'll
bottles?
tell you, something happened actually at our last show on Sunday, and a guy was in the audience with a Trump sign. And
Mm.
you know me, like I've made my political, feelings kind of felt. It's not even my political feelings
Yep.
because I'm an independent, but I just want the country to do
Lot
good,
better
and I
than
just
it
want,
was been. I understand that absolutely
yeah,
100% clearly.
yeah. I don't even care who the candidate is. Like I don't care like what Trump's done. I don't care what Kamala Harris has done. It's just what are you going to do for the country? Is kind of my number
Yeah,
one thing. So that's what I look
exactly.
at 100%. But anyway, somebody had a Trump sign and was like kind of like waving it at our show, like in the audience. I would say that was pretty
Yay,
weird, just
yay,
because.
Trump, baby. Like
Yeah,
that, I
And
guess.
it's usually usually it's the like the other. Well, it's kind of the other way around. Like bands are on the stage preaching to you who you need to vote for.
Hmm.
I mean, whether you
yeah,
want to
we
say
don't do that at all.
a
Like
Green Day, I don't
we are
know.
so
I know
middle. We
you
are
two
so
did that when it came to helping out Africa. I remember hearing about that in a couple of their shows that they did before.
Hey, and I've never been in that situation yet where the artist talks political, especially in this time. And I don't know how I would react. I don't know how I'm going to react. Like, because usually, without, being, being kind of tongue in cheek here, because we don't talk politics on the show either, but, and this show is going to be premiered on the Master Concerts channel.
Yep.
1,030 subs, over 1,000 subs.
Yeah, congratulations on that. Why, I heard about that. Yay.
Paul through. We're probably just going to start putting that on the music channel. The music show on there, Music Maniacs, is
All right.
more
nice.
But look, I told Eddie Trunk straight up, man, like, because he was like, hey, like a lot of people, that's annoying. Like, I'm not gonna lie, someone's holding a phone
in front of me. That kind of sucks. But I go into the concerts. I choose where I want to sit most of the time. Like I kind of plan beforehand going in. Hey, I'm gonna record this whole thing. This is what I'm gonna do. If it's like a GA thing where like me and Brown,
Hmm.
the people surrounding us who get to talking, like those ladies, Dr. Brown, remember?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That was
Hey,
cool.
I'm
Way
gonna
cool.
record this. I'm gonna record this. Tap me on the shoulder or whatever if I'm in your way.
Hmm.
Usually, most of the people cool. I mean, I haven't ran into anyone that said anything otherwise. Most of the people are like, "Hey, what's your channel? I can't wait to check it out after." Like that's like 95% of the people. Everyone else
Nice.
is like, everyone's cool on that. And that's
So is
what
Eddie Trunk against it? Is that what you're telling me?
that was his point. Like, do you tell people that do you let them know, or not necessarily that? Like, do you do it in a way where it's not blocking people, or common sense with it? But I was like, of course, what I'm saying, I get to talking to people, and like I told him, like I'll sit like the Sammy Hagar, like I chose the first row, so I can also sit but film the whole thing instead of being standing and filming and being up in the air. And but certain seats you don't have people blocking you in front, so you don't have to hold the phone up high sometimes, what I'm saying. So I looked at too, and I don't know why I record all the full shows. Like I don't know what got me to do that. Well, what was my first show was that Dawkins and George Lynch.
Mm.
And then I went to Judas Priest, and then that's when the concerts start. I was like, damn, let's, because concerts ain't really that much money, honestly. I mean, if you know how to do it, blah blah blah. Especially nowadays, like Brown, they got
Hmm.
you can upgrade your seat. Live Nation and Ticketmaster are one and the same. Like Live Nation owns Ticketmaster, but like
Mm.
through the apps, Live Nation, you know, it's your same Ticketmaster account. So your Ticketmaster tickets will be on your Live Nation account. And
What's up?
Live Nation app is just like
No, I didn't get to
they'll
sleep,
show
and
you
we're
the
live right now.
merchandise.
I'll run a
They'll
dog.
show
We'll
you
take
the
care.
merchandise on the free merchandise of the day of show. But nowadays you can upgrade your seats through the because usually they have a Live Nation tent, like a temporary tent setup, or a Live Nation table, depending if it's indoors or outdoors. So when you walk in, you can upgrade your seats, 10, $20, depends on what, but no more than that really. And because a lot of these concerts are during the week as well, so like you don't really get a lot of people during the week. I mean, you get quite a few, but like the upgrade game is big right now. So at the end of the day, yes, Eddie Trunk is against it if you're an asshole recording, right? And most people don't even upload on YouTube. Most people just record and keep it on their phone. And it's like, what's the use? At least
It's a
I have a
keepsake.
well, at least mine can last forever on YouTube, and it's for
Yeah.
others to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
but
that.
I did that for years, bro. I did that for years. I recorded on my phone, kept it on my phone. Dude, I recorded an entire King Crimson show in Ohio, and they were
Nice.
very strict.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
they're
never
they're
uploaded.
they're very
That's
strict on a lot of things. No smoking in the
I
venues that they play.
take
No
it off my
cameras.
phone, upload it on YouTube, obviously, right? So like you say, memory, blah blah blah. Like that's another point why I started uploading on YouTube. Until YouTube gets bought out by China or whatever and goes away, like it'll be on there forever.
Yeah.
And I don't make any money, but if I go to a show and I only know a couple songs, I'm not going to be too into it. So I record it, and I don't know. I get a little bit more into it recording, I guess. I don't know. It sounds weird, but I mean, it doesn't
I
sound
mean,
weird. I
if
don't
you're
know.
using it for content and kind of using it to have like a
Like,
business, then
literally,
that's legit.
I mean, I'm not making money on my music channel or nothing. It's literally, I'm giving back to people that, because I look on YouTube for concerts that I'm going to go to in the future, or maybe that I want to go to, or an artist I didn't hear for 10 years. So I want to hear something recent. I don't know. And that really, like, that's like a 90% deal for me. I have to hear them before I go, because there's people out, I got to tell if they're number one live, because there's a lot out there that is lip syncing or playing the track. So, like, and you can kind of tell sometimes, now, not all the time, but if you know what to look for, you could tell if they're real or not on a video on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? To me,
Did you
anyway.
see?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, did you see the Frankie Valley of the Four Seasons There's
Oh,
been
yeah.
several videos going around of him lip syncing. He looks like half dead. It's
Really?
sad.
Really? I didn't
Yeah, it's
hear
very
about this
sad.
until now.
It is
Yep.
probably the most obvious lip sync. And nowadays, it's not frowned upon like at all. Like the pop genre, the hip hop genre, kind of,
It's
you
always
know,
been lip syncing. New Kids on the Block did it. Jennifer Lopez did it. They always do it on the Super Bowl halftime show. No doubt about that. I mean,
There's worst part is there's people on the post saying he's still singing and don't criticize him and he still sounds great. It's like it's so plainly
but
obvious
then
already.
again,
It's
let's keep in
disgusting.
mind he's probably
like
in the
Brad,
70s or 80s. So as your time grows
90s
older,
almost.
yeah, and your voice is
let me
not going
tell
to be as it
you,
was in its 20s.
is there but there's fans out there, and I don't know if I'm one necessarily, but there's fans out there that just want to be in the presence of the famous person. It
That's
doesn't matter.
true. That is
They,
true.
you know,
Keep that in
they
mind.
could be they could be doing a book signing. They could be doing autograph session. They could be filming. I don't know, like whatever, right?
Yeah, they
But
want to be
like
in the presence of a legend.
people wanted to be in that, and like that would be kind of weird. Look like the whole Kiss doing like a pre-recorded thing for this new thing where it's like avatars and lights and all that, like sheets and everything. With, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna hit that because well, it would depends on the price. You know what I mean? Like just to see, but like that is look if you like honestly, besides new bands, like Paul Three always talks about new bands, which no one cares about. People want the old, people want the hits, people want to hear the hits, people want to be in the nostalgia of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
yeah,
People, I mean, look, I get deep too in my stuff. Your Judas Priest, your Van Halen stuff. I mean, I like the deep tracks and everything, and I don't mind. You know what I mean? So most of the shows I go to, I know the set list going in because I look it up. I
hmm
do, and maybe it's less impact. I don't know. I have a fucking ball, and I don't drink at these shows, but I have a ball, and like I don't. People say, "Oh, when you record, you're not into the moment." What the hell does that mean? Of course, I'm into the moment. I'm singing along. I'm like, what? Like, and if
exactly. Yes.
anything, I'm far away, and I got the zoom on the video, so I can see the person on the stage better. Like the
If
Metallica.
anything, you're paying attention more because you're filming it and you're like really into it. I've been there, bro.
But
Anybody that says
Yes.
you're not paying attention is an
say
idiot.
that a lot. People say that a lot. Like,
I think what
you,
it is, let me interject here. I think the problem is with some people is that in a lot of ways in the past they feel that people are not paying attention to music. They're just paying there to record the shows and upload them on either Facebook, the former Twitter, or on YouTube and such. And I guess in a lot of ways, some artists feels like the phones are distracting their fans from paying attention to them. I think David Draymond from Disturbed called out one person for doing that. I think Corey Taylor from Slipknot just as well did the same thing. And
look,
YR, you also got to look up Rob Halford Cake's phone here on YouTube.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
oh man, the
That was
comments
good.
was
Like you got
hilarious.
people. Usually, most people are cool at concerts,
Mhm,
and for me, usually they're older. Usually they're like with their, it's like a couple, an older couple.
mhm,
It's not like rowdy and whatever, like a concert maybe was 20, 30, 40 years ago,
mhm.
depending on what band, blah, blah, blah. But the alcohol usage gets to be a problem,
Yeah,
more so in the smaller shows, like um, Zach Sabbath Brown when that woman was pulling on my arm.
yeah, really, I
You know,
remember that, man.
those people, and if they're not cool, they're probably drinking and they're being an asshole about it. But I'm usually cool, like, and usually no one's ever had to tap me or said, "Hey, move out of my way." Like I've never been through that situation yet. But then again, I hold the phone in a way where I'm not trying to block people. I'm aware of my surroundings. I'm aware that there's other people trying to watch. But then I also get in a spot. I like to go in a spot where I can do my thing and be, you know what I'm saying? So like I'll try to not do that, like be an asshole about it. Which I've never had this altercation yet. I mean, I don't want to say that. There's been a few instances, some guy was like pressing up against me and stuff or whatever, and it turned into kind of a thing. Just like the GA, the super small, like 2 or 300 people venues that are packed, like just a small concrete slab, and it's just packed to people. That can be. But most, like again, I say like most people are like older and stuff. So if whatever you're gonna run into, it's probably gonna be someone over drinking and just I don't know. I mean, I've learned to not lash out at people or get mad at people if they're drinking and if they maybe stand in front of me or little tribute concert, whatever, like someone might stand in front of me, I'm filming, but what I'm saying, you just
As long
and
as
at
they
the end
don't
of the day,
fuck with you.
yeah, people are there to have a good time,
Yep.
but I do get some fucking epic videos like that. The Judas Priest double dip Houston Dallas was
Mhm.
my biggest gaining like 30,000 views plus,
I
but
know.
that George Lynch is a diamond in the rough. I mean, it still has. I mean, I'm not talking views or whatever, but just that footage. I'm talking right. I'm talking. I can hear George Lynch strum his guitar, and it sounds like I'm so close. It sounds, when you don't have the amp on, Brown, and you're
Yep,
just
exactly. Just strumming along, you could hear that as well as the sound coming
yeah.
from the amplifiers.
Look, it was like 105 degrees, and they were having like speaker issues. The
Mhm.
boards were messing up, so like there was moments that what I'm saying. I feel like it could have been louder where I was, because compared to the Rat video, I mean, I had Johnny Monaco's guitar
Guitar
sound
work,
like
yes.
me, a way big difference. But look, at the end of the day, like that is a niche hobby of mine. Like I do like to, and then people like are in the comments and like, and people are hating, people are loving it. Most of the people are loving it. The people are hating it or saying, "Why did you film this whole thing? Why don't you just not use a phone?" Or people are hating and saying, "This person sounds like shit." But I'm not gonna go to like a lame, bad concert. I do my research before I spend the money and go. Honestly, and there is bad concerts out there, like you were saying, the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say bad concerts, just anything lip syncing, anything not live. I have no interest in anything
Yeah.
not 100% live. Now, if you have to bring in a piano part for one song, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like Sammy, and then they brought in a piano player. They didn't have no tracks. Like they did. I mean, even if it's not original member of the band, I'd take that. I'd take a live player over a track any day of an instrument. I know Paul Three Band. Can you say that your band is 1,000% live, or do y'all play any sounds, tracks, anything? Because I mean, it's a full band,
No,
horns and
yeah,
piano.
no, no tracks at all. It's all
That's
live,
good. Yeah.
100%.
How I remember a few times when bands would have the whatever live tracks you used to have in was probably usually the intro or some taped message that was on the record. They would have presented it live. That was about it. When I remember seeing Iron Maiden back in 1985, there was a spoken dialogue during their track Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, where some words were spoken. They had a recording of those words being recorded during their live versions of that song. So that was the only
That's cool.
backing tracks that I remember back in the day. But you know
Paul
what, Todd? Let me go into the subject of recording concerts. I used to go to major record stores. One of the biggest ones I used to go to was Off the Record, which used to be in Royal Oak. It's closed now. It's been gone for God knows how many years, which bummed me out because I used to buy a lot of good stuff there. But there was a big ass selection of bootleg CDs recorded from this concert, that concert, this concert. One of the biggest ones was Woodstock 94 Performance by Nine Inch Nails. That was the big
Yep.
talk of the town right that year.
Brown, we got Prince in here real quick. I just
Prince,
letting you
what's up, man? Where are you?
Prince on the call, guys.
Prince, what's up, man? Prince, you there? Prince?
Can you hear
It's
me?
Brown.
Not here.
Just
Not.
a reminder after
What's happening?
What's up, dudes? What going on?
Brown. Just
Going
What's
on.
today's music talk
Brown.
about
Just a
today?
reminder after your what you got to say. Play that Eddie Trunk thing for the people.
Okay, I will
please,
do.
when you
I
can.
will do so.
Thank
Give me a few minutes here. But actually, but in the past, many artists, record labels, and managements used to look down on people recording concerts because it would be released as a bootleg cassette, CD, or a vinyl album. And that in turn would take money from the artists, the record labels, the management, the publishing, and everything else. In fact, you may remember Frank Zappa got all sorts of money to buy up all the bootleg albums featuring him, his old band, the Mothers of Invention, and he released it on a box set on Rhino Records called Zappa Beats the Boots. A lot of times artists lose money because of these bootleg recordings that are issued out onto some of these record stores. And believe me, Off the Record had a whole shitload of bootleg CDs from ranging from Pantera, Nine Inch Nails, Black Sabbath. I remember buying a few of those myself, I admit. But the reason why they issue them out is because, in a way, we like to hear those songs live. It's like a keepsake. If I were to find a bootleg CD of the Iron Maiden show I saw with my best friend at Jolo's Arena in early 1985, that to me would be a tremendous keepsake because I was there in attendance, and I was for me it's like a reminder of how good of a show I was at that night. But
Yeah, you're right, bro. I've actually done that too. I've looked up, old shows from like 2005 that I've been to back in the day. I've looked at all that on YouTube, and yeah, it is like a keepsake. It's really cool.
like that, and they're
So I
doing
don't
that.
think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. I guess they're now, and since some of these performances are now on YouTube, where the people who upload it are not earning any money as a result. So I guess record labels out there realize, you know what, maybe we should back off on these guys and gals for doing this because they're not making money. But that was the main issue with the past with the artists and labels. Most of these bootleggers were like stealing from the companies and the artists. And probably just as well they upload on YouTube because we could listen to view for free, whereas a bootleg cassette or a bootleg album would cost about almost twice the amount of a vinyl album. I remember with this one store in Roseville that I used to go to a lot had all these vinyl releases, and they're not just live recordings. These are like studio recordings that someone in the studio probably took, stole, and had them to some mixing place or such and such. Look up the situation regarding the album Carnival of Souls by Kiss. It was supposed to be a more grungy album. It was supposed to come out around 1995, but then the reunion with Ace and Peter came about, and they shelved that project. That album finally came out around, I guess it was 1997 or 1998. And it was bootlegged massively prior to that. Prince's Black Album, that was considered the most bootlegged album of all time because it was supposed to be released somewhere in the later half of the 1980s, but somehow, some reason, Prince's record label, Warner Brothers, decided against it. So as a result, someone got a hold of those tracks and they released it on their own and just been passed around and around and around and around. And as a result, the Black Album, when it finally got officially released by the record label, it did well, but it didn't do so exactly well because most likely everybody out there had a copy of the bootleg version. In fact, here's someone else: Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose. You remember when he went off on that one, taking pictures at the St. Louis concert in '91 that turned into a riot after he stormed off stage. Well, apparently, according to Axel, he did in a radio interview. There's so many people recording their shows, videotaping their shows, taking pictures of their shows, and selling them as bootlegs. So hey, get this photo of Axel and Slash on stage, yay! Hey, for a reasonable price, and usually black and white. And apparently, he even stated, Axel did, that whenever he starts the chords for November Rain, people would clap and cheer because they've heard that song on some bootleg release. In fact, I remember a whole bunch of bootleg recordings recorded from the clubs back in the day being sold at one of the record stores in Roseville that I previously mentioned. But back then, a bootleg was kind of like the dirty word in the record music industry vocabulary. So that's all I got to say on that subject. Prince, how you doing, man?
I'm doing
Prince,
good.
I'm doing all
And
right.
I remember, I just remembered they had a whole box, the deluxe edition on Guns N' Roses, where you can get all these collectibles. They had like a whole cassette, everything. The cassette from back in the day. They had all the albums, posters,
Mm-hmm.
even like pens, rings, all that. It was like a
What?
big Guns N' Roses box set.
A vault.
Yeah, the vault. Oh
Mm-hmm.
man, that. And I think Motley Crue, didn't they have something like that as well?
I'm not too
The vault
sure,
set.
but the only ones I know was Guns N' Roses that you mentioned. Of course, the Kiss vault that basically was mostly Gene Simmons, all the demos and stuff. And I guess he gave one of those. He
I
made that
think
available. Yes.
I think every band should have one. Aerosmith, The Doors. I can't wait for them to do the whole. If they decide to do the whole Skid Row one, I think that would be cool.
Mm.
I love Skid Row. I think that would be cool.
Would it
And
be?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Motley Crue does have one because and one of the records, it came in like blood or something.
No, that was probably that. I think that would probably be the box set version for I think Shout at the Devil.
Yeah, Shout the Devil, where it came up with everything, all the cool souvenirs, all the cool posters and stuff, guitar picks, all that. Good shit, man.
Original.
I like they have stuff like that. And Prince had one too with the whole deluxe edition Sign of the Times album. Came with some good posters and stuff like that. I love
Interesting.
when they do stuff like that, man. I
'Cause
love when they release vinyl
Now
records
when
like that. That's how it
now
should be.
yeah now they did the same thing with Black Sabbath's Techno Ecstasy from
Yes, they did.
1976, great album
They
there.
did.
And I guess they've done a few times with the Ronnie James Dio releases that Black Sabbath did with him. They've added concert audio concert
But
recordings posters and everything
you
else.
have to
Th-
you have to understand that whole thing will be like an arm and a leg just to buy it though. It's like it's
yeah.
so damn
Oh
expensive.
yeah, the people don't mind because I was going to mention the Black Sabbath box set featuring Tony Iommi on the vocals on those 4 albums. That's in the top. That's been on the Billboard charts for quite some time, and now people are really discovering how damn good the Tony Martin era Black Sabbath was, which is good in my opinion because Tony Martin stands out as one awesome vocalist.
Right.
But now
Prince, how
going,
you doing?
but up. Oh, my bad.
I would want, I don't know what else band I would want. Um let's see. Who else could have like a vaulted box collection with well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how
Beatles
they
had the anthology.
Prince,
I
what
think they
about?
would
Well, let me tell you real quick, and this is true. This was probably around the year, yeah, I'm thinking 2000, 2001, 2002 at the latest.
Yes.
If someone looked it up, they could tell the exact year. It was called the Bonfire. Bon Scott.
AC/DC.
It was all the Bon Scott stuff. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 discs in there, and it was called Bonfire. And I
Yes, I
did purchase.
remember that. Yes.
That was a good one. But for band, I mean, all bands have probably done that already times 10. You know, re-releases, reissues, the craze, the psychopaths that listen to vinyl, which
Yeah.
I'll never understand. When you can put a CD on, when you can put it on your phone. Like, why spend $60 on a record that's going to scratch, and you got to do also, you have to get needles for the player, Brown? Like,
Mm.
why is a vinyl? And look, people, I'll speak what's on my mind. I'm in my 30s. I didn't grow up using vinyl records. I grew up using CDs
And
in the
cassette.
90s. And CD. Well, I mean, I used cassettes, but I mean, mostly it was CDs. Like, CD was the best. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is. Like, till they get scratched.
You've never
Then
heard vinyl, bro. You never heard vinyl. I'm in my 30s. I grew up with vinyl, dude. I had vinyl my
Dude, my
entire
dad,
fucking life, bro.
I get it.
vinyl was the original way of listening to music back then. It goes way back to the 1920s.
But why? But like the craze nowadays, like you're spending so much money. Yeah, you're getting a physical, which I
Paul,
think.
he doesn't know that vinyl sounds so much better than a CD copy.
And plus,
Exactly, dude. And you gotta have good
you know what?
speakers,
Here's
bro.
something else. A friend of mine pointed this out. You hear the more, bass, the more tones, the more depth of the album on vinyl record than on the CD, where it's all digitally remastered. You sound a lot more crystal clear.
All of y'all are wrong.
No, you can't compare, dude, the warmth that vinyl has, especially when you have good speakers. It sounds like the bass is in your fucking room. It's incredible.
My dream is to have like a whole DJ stand turntable set up. Plug those
That's what I'm
like
saying. Paul 3, look, Paul 3,
phones
you
in.
can't, it's the key. Paul 3, that's the key. You got to have the proper, you have to spend a good amount of money.
Yeah,
Good
but it's
speaker.
worth
You
it.
have to
It's
say
worth
you
it.
can't just
It's
get
worth
like you can't just get the briefcase record player that they sell in Walmart for $30. Like you got to have the good speakers with it, that good thump. You got to have all the rest of the stuff with it as well, right, Brown? You can't just like.
Well, I don't know. The only place I know that has record players that, of course, is Walmart, and they're like the description that you gave us. But I remember back.
Point. That's like Paul 3 made the whole point. Like Paul 3, you can't out argue this point because you already made it for me. Was like,
I'll tell you right now, bro. They have new record players. Listen, bro, you can go on Amazon, you can get new record players, you can get them, they're USB, they hook up to your computer. You can actually record the vinyl that's playing to your computer if you really
Yep.
want to do it like that.
Or
And,
get a
and stream it
vinyl,
like that,
or
bro.
get a record player like I got that has a CD player, cassette player, MP3 player, and you're also able to record from the MP3, no, excuse me, record from the vinyl onto the MP3. In fact, there was one thing I saw at one flea market, may have been the old Gibraltar Trade Center in, I guess, by Taylor, Michigan. They had this guy where any vinyl records you could have, you have it transferred onto CD.
we're getting way off subject here. The whole point is who has time just sit down and listen to music? Like most people have it in their earphones, anyways, on the go. Brown, you're at work working, listening to it. Obviously, you're doing stuff, but who really takes time? Which time is the most valuable thing in a person's life? Who takes time to just sit down and put a record on? Like, who does that anymore? Anyways, is what I'm trying to get
Well,
to.
I guess there are people who do that when they feel like, they come home from a hard days at work, spend a hard day's night, they come home, put on a record, relax, kick back, they could put on some Barry White, get down with their girlfriend, their wives, and go fuck in the bedroom
I
there.
do that. Yeah, dude. We do that. I do that, dude. I grew up. My dad does that. Like I grew up doing this shit. Bro, are you kidding me?
You know how much a record is nowadays, brother? At least like $60. If it's
Go
like
to a flea market, bro. Go to a flea market. You can find them for
if it's
$5,
a double
$3.
or bed, well, the one we're talking about are the double albums, like The Wall from Pink Floyd, or Sign of the Times by Prince,
okay, so how about this?
or
How about this?
1999. Those are double albums. That
this.
costs around a 40, close up to $50. The one album just costs about $25, $24. Plain and simple.
Brian, you still have you have an MP3 player, like that's like 15 years ago type thing, but it's still better. Like, bro, you got to understand, like, CDs were great. Like, taking music on the go
Yeah,
changed the world, in my opinion. Like,
it
yeah,
did.
people
Yes, I know.
walked around
Yes.
transistor radios, people walked around with boom boxes, but like when people,
Walkmans.
I don't know the history of like the headphone to the cassette player. I don't know, maybe the 80s. I don't know like when the headphones to a music player started,
What's up?
but
Right here.
guys,
Okay. You want what?
you things
Okay.
different. Music is hello. I'm trying to
Hello, I'm here. I got interrupted there for a second. My bad.
professional podcast, man.
Hmm.
As a child, obviously wrestling music impacts your life, right? Or
Yes,
you know,
pretty
for me,
much. It helps you through a lot of things.
I mean, music impacts your life, and listening to songs on the radio as a child, blah blah blah, the nostalgia, like Paul III's band and everything. Because Paul III is influenced by Led Zeppelin, by the Black Crowes, by Bob Marley, stuff like that.
No, I hate the Black
Or
Crowes and
no,
Led
no,
Zeppelin's okay.
I was never into them much myself.
but now
Yeah,
look, the point is, honestly, like Brown. I mean, you have a record player. Paul III has a record player. Like people that are into collecting vinyl, like that's their thing, right? I'm just saying I feel like most people just go on YouTube and listen to whatever they need to listen to. That's what
Yeah,
I
but
do.
then again, there are albums out there that are not on YouTube. There are
Right? Actually, I
artists
go
out there never been on YouTube. I was lucky able to find the
real quick,
Kirby Stone 4, an album that my dad had called Bobbles, Bangles, and Beads. I was able to find that whole album here on YouTube, and I enjoyed listening to that because my dad used to have it. I'm also looking for stuff like a Count Basie or an old trumpet player named Earl Boswick. You know, my dad had a couple of their records. He had a big ass vinyl collection way back from the 30s and 40s, way back. Who cannot forget the drummer Sandy Nelson, his album, Let There Be Drums? My dad had that album.
All right, so whole point.
Go ahead.
Paul III.
what happened? Did you just vomit, Wire? It sounded like you peed or something.
Oh, dude.
So I'm saying the day I go. I mean, look, you listen music and songs over and over again. You hear the same songs over and over again. Whatever that might be, radio, TV. I like to take it a step further and actually go see it live myself. So I kind of past collecting records, collecting physical music myself personally. I do. I'll just listen to it on YouTube, you know. But I understand and I get. You're at a concert, you feel the music, you feel it, vibrations, you feel the vibes, you feel the bass line, you feel it. So I could see when you're playing an vinyl record, Paul III and Brown, like y'all do, y'all feel that because, like Paul III mentioned earlier, the good speaker system, blah blah blah, which is the kind of the whole point, right? Of listening to music at the house. You want to have, you know, there's no point in my opinion in listening to music in the house, physical music, CD record, if you don't have a good system. Number one, okay. Otherwise, you
It's
might as
like
well listen to it off
you
your.
feel it in a vinyl, like you can feel like the drum solo. You can feel that boom, 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 boom,
Exactly.
boom,
That's
boom.
what you feel in the vinyl.
Paul III, didn't you record one of your record on vinyl or something in Tennessee or something like that? Or
Yeah,
something?
we went to Brooklyn and recorded live to vinyl, which was a crazy experience in and of itself. But we'll be putting our studio tracks here on vinyl later
For
this year and
example,
having a release
hello,
party. So
hello. For
Hello.
example, hello. For example, you can like hear. I remember I had a vinyl record. I had Guns N' Roses. Remember Rain. You can hear Matt Sorum's every single
Yeah.
drum track put on it. You can hear the dun dun dun, like you hear the actual Rose piano, but then you hear the drum track coming doing do 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 do. That to me makes me feel good. That I don't know about you guys, but that right there is important to me that I can hear every drum track that man put out. Most people just buy a vinyl record and they hear crap bullshit. But when you have good speakers, good headphones, you actually can enjoy what they did in the recording studio or what they did live. So that's why vinyl is very important. YR. Don't give me that CD shit because you can't hear that on the CD. But in the vinyl record, you can hear what they actually played in the fucking recording booth.
Bullshit. Now, CD sonically sounds way better than any other.
No. Earl, get him. Get
Does
Does
Well,
him.
well,
anybody
well,
have
well,
Spotify?
Prince pointed it out, and I pointed it out myself. When
CDs, bro. You
on
can
the
make
yeah CDs, but some people have an issue with the CDs. It's because most of the stuff around when CDs were coming out was about digitally this, digitally remastered, digitally this. It kind of like takes some away of the bass, the depth of the
yeah,
original
look,
track
I
that
get
you
it.
listen to it on vinyl as a kid.
I'm not crapping on. I love our. Hey, I'm not crapping on vinyl. I'm just saying I go out and get a $15 CD. I mean, maybe not nowadays.
Album,
Let's talk 10 years ago,
yeah.
20 years ago. Let's say we're in the 90s. I can go out and get a CD, $10, $15. How much was a? I'm talking brand new. Like
Well, the cost would probably
vinyl.
for
When did bands stop putting, like in the 90s, did bands stop putting stuff mostly on vinyl? Did they start putting more stuff on CDs because of the
because the
formats?
CD, yeah, this format had changed. CDs and cassettes were the main thing. They were a lot more compact. You could carry them around, put them in your pocket, listen to them in your car, blah blah blah. Whereas vinyl, be a pretty much a difficult steal from
How
a
much was
Kmart
a
store. But actually,
Brown,
but
real quick? How much was a cassette brand new back in the day?
well, back the brand new cassette from an album or that just came out will probably possibly be about either 7.99 or 8.99. All depends on the hype of the album or the artist that put it out. And a CD would cost about either 12.99 or 13.99, or if it's a double album, it'll probably be about 18.99.
Well, how
Or
about this? How about this? Like, um, I feel like, and look, I'm big on the CDs, but I feel like a cassette. First of all, how long? What's the lifespan of a cassette? And you, the minute you drop a CD or it scratches, it's done. Like a cassette, you can drop it and it's fine for the most
yes,
part, I guess.
yes.
But how long is the lifespan of a cassette, Brown? Usually back in the day.
So what the lifespan, I'm not too sure. It's been a while. If I had some of those old cassettes I had back in the 90s, a whole big shitload of them when I was still in Michigan, most likely they would still play today because, a cassette can last a long time as long as you don't mess with the tape inside of them.
Well,
You know,
that probably was the big thing too back in the day.
also as well
Like
because
for,
especially
for VH,
cassettes.
for VHSs, like the tapes,
Hmm.
cassettes, they can get tangled up or whatever the word is inside the player. And now, does
Yes.
that happen a lot? Like
That
the
did
actual
happen
tape?
a couple of times, though. That's usually when the it's kind of hard to explain, but that was one of the issues we had whenever something like that would occur. We had to take a big pen or a pencil and just try to get it back to where it was before. Sometimes the tape would crumble up, not really crumble up, but it would like sometimes you got to rewind it, fast forward, rewind it, fast forward. So basically, you get into a place where it plays all the way on side one to side two without any of the issues.
Does anybody pay for Spotify?
Nope, I'm not doing. I don't do Spotify. I
I do
don't do Apple
Spotify. I
Music.
have
I
like
don't.
YouTube, bro. I'm YouTube, man.
So
Pretty much same thing with
so
me.
Brown, do you agree? Do you agree where I stand on vinyl being better than
Yes,
CD?
yes, pretty
No.
much.
Thank you.
And
Paul,
plus, let me make
Paul,
this clear. Let me make this clear.
how do you feel about that, Paul?
Prince, let me make this clear. You're
I
able
think
to
they both
check
have
out
their
the
pros and
album's
cons.
artwork want vinyl because
you
it's a
are.
lot more bigger and lot more to observe.
You're
No.
able to. You're able to.
You scratch.
let me stop you.
The minute you scratch up the album, you have to go out and nowadays, good luck getting a used album for $2 or $3, like Paul 3 said. You're gonna have to buy the brand new album or find it on eBay that for a good price, for a pretty price. A CD you can burn multiple times and have backup
But you
copies. Y'all
can't
never
get
used to do that.
anything good out of a CD, bro. When you buy an album, you get more than what you ask for because most likely they give you a lot of souvenirs in the entire package.
Yes, they do. Prince has a point. They got Lambert.
Hold on.
What? Well, let me say this. Yeah, that is true because both the new releases from Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, they come with, and the Eagles included, they come with these laminate passes, backstage passes in the side of the releases.
Well, back in the day too, I heard actually Greg Lake from Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Let me
Greg
seal the deal.
Lake, Greg, can you shut the fuck up?
Listening,
Greg
look.
Lake,
Ha!
can you shut the fuck up right now?
Okay,
Greg
let
Lake from
Prince, let
God
Paul
damn,
3
bro.
speak, man. Let Paul speak. Let
what I
Paul
mean?
speak.
Greg Lake from Emerson, Lake and Palmer said the best thing about vinyl albums back in the day was because you could break up your weed, and then in the corner of the album, the seeds would sift down into the crack, and you could just dump out the seeds.
Ah.
What?
Yes.
Hell, you could also you could also hide the weed inside of a cassette case. I remember hearing about that a few times in high school.
What? Prince, you used to Prince, you got that box set right now? You just got that?
No, I've been had this. I don't open my stuff, bro. It's still in plastic. This is
What's the
this
use?
is my Prince album.
Come on.
I don't
Schism.
open them. I don't open them. I collect, bro. I collect, man. I love
And
my
how do you
records.
know how do you know it sounds good? How do you know records are so great? Like we don't even open them.
Well,
Because
I plan on opening it one day and actually listening to it, but this is out of
Schism.
my collection. This is out of my collection. I have some that I have played, but this one I don't plan on opening this one. This is
No,
this is
no,
a
that is
a good one.
collector.
it is.
This is a collectible.
I don't see it yet there.
It has so much stuff, as you can see. It has a lot in it.
Prince did rip
this
everything off Rick James, so we know that as well. So
Yeah.
Prince.
And you can tell this is worth it. Look, that's how you know this is rare. This is very rare.
No, that is good.
This is a deluxe edition, bro. It's a
Would
gold
y'all
sticker on it.
Well, which
costs
album
me
is it? Because I'm unable to see it, unfortunately.
The box set. Brown, do you prefer the streaming services, or would you rather have a Blockbuster or Hollywood Video on every other corner to go to physically?
Well, it's kind of a tough.
Okay.
It's that's a tough one because, as you know, I use Blockbuster. I use other video. Went to other video store places in the past. The only thing I watched on streaming services was a few episodes of The Mandalorian, the Beatles Get Back documentary. And I know my sister and my brother-in-law used to watch a lot of things on streaming services during the pandemic. A lot of movies. For instance, they watched the remix Blade Runner movie from 1982 or 1983. And this is the remix version without Harrison Ford's narration throughout the whole movie, by the way. But, I was pretty much a big fan of both, especially in the videos. If it's to say that I watch more videos than I did streaming services. I remember there was a video store where I rented Pink Floyd Live, Delicate Sound of Thunder. I rented a few other cassettes as well, concert shows. Van
that's the thing with
Halen.
me, Brown. Like I didn't grow up around going to record stores per se. Now there were like Sam Ash or
I remember
what's the
that.
one that they had, FYE in the mall?
Yes,
CD stores.
FYE for your
Yeah.
entertainment. They have one at
Best Buy.
Best Buy. I
Yeah,
remember that.
So like I like went to buy physical music myself, but never like I can't even imagine like
Sam
the
Goody.
a record store. It would be similar to Texas, they have the movie trading company. So like they sell records, they sell video games, they sell all that. So like it's a similar feel, I guess. Posters on the wall, whatever. They sell CDs, they sell everything, music, video games, videos, movies. So like that's the closest I've ever been around or into like a physical music place. Now I know there is around like record stores for, especially nowadays for the collectors, like the newer generation of collector, the boom of record collecting, vinyl collecting nowadays for the past 10 years or whatever, how long it's been, the big boom in it. But I can't imagine back in the day, Brown, when let's say Back in Black, the album was going to be released, and you go and buy that, and maybe you haven't listened to it yet.
I
Maybe you just
did.
had
I did. Believe me, I did.
that is a whole nother deal, discovering the iconic music that we have. Because look, that's another thing I was going to tell Paul 3 about the original music bands and everything. Like, that's all great and everything, but like, you got to see like the footage I get now. It is like way later in these people's careers, but it's like the last of what we're going to see of these great iconic bands. And I don't see no chumps. Like, I'm going to see some good shit. You know what I'm saying? Sammy
Legit
Hagar,
good.
George Lynch, Metallica. There might be a few dingers here and there, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got the footage to see it if you don't like it or not. But like, I feel like going to get this in another 20 years. You fast forward and because the last 20 years, the 2000s, doesn't seem like that long ago, but 20 years ago. So you figure another 20 years, it's going to go by quick. In 2010, that whole era went by quick. The 2010s were already in 2024, half that. We're almost to that. So, for your 90s kids, you're going to be 40 years old type deal coming up and
Oh,
everything.
fuck you, bro. Hey, I gotta get running, guys. Have a good rest of your show.
All right, there.
Thank
All right, thank you, Paul 3, for being on with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, there. And thank
So
you.
yes, the vinyl records it'll be there forever. The songs will live forever. Even after the artist passes away and everything. But there's something just special about the concerts, Brown. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like being in the moment, being in the zone, be having a good time. And people want to capture that good time and they want to relive it now and then. That's where the videos that they record on YouTube is of that's where it stands right now. Hey, go to YouTube. We could go to this, check out this concert. That's me in the fourth row. Yay. I remember Ken was talking about that on an episode of Real as Fuck TV when me, the Minnesotas, was on. All right, so let's get into this one. Wire sent me this. Wasp leader Blackie Lawless was asked if he'd seen former Wasp guitarist Chris Holmes' documentary. It's called Mean Man, the story of Chris Holmes. Written and directed by some dude named. It's written by a couple of French filmmakers. Now, the project which was made available on Blu-ray DVD in January 2021 was born in 2004 after the filmmakers had the opportunity to meet Mr. Holmes in a music video for the song Let It Roll. Now, Blackie said that Mean Man, he said about the documentary, I have no desire to see anything that has to do with that. First of all, you want to base everything, you got to do it in life on truth. And you know what? It may be his truth, but your truth doesn't necessarily make it fact. Anybody can have their own truth, but that doesn't.
Brian,
Go ahead.
Brian, when I saw this, real quick, when I saw this story, I thought of you because you always you like Wasp, but you have no interest in seeing Wasp live unless Chris Holmes is back in the band.
I mentioned that, yes, because those two were the basics of Wasp altogether.
Yeah.
In fact, by the way, if you heard their album KFD, Kill Fucking Die, if you haven't heard that yet, do so. Do So came out in 1997. Badass record that they put out. But anyways, I guess the two had a big ass falling out. Listen, according to Blackie, if the guy had genuine creativity, he wouldn't give two hoots about what I do. So that's the yardstick on how you judge those things. If someone's coming from a perspective where they're not telling the truth, I'm not going to waste my time on that. When he was asked if that was the reason he didn't participate in that documentary, Lawless said, quote, "Well, I don't recall being invited, but if I would have, I would not have done it. Like I said, I had no desire to do something. I mean, if it's based on truth, then I may take a look at it. But for a guy to do a tutorial for an hour or however long it was, to sit and just give their side of the story that's not based on truth, why do I want to be a part of that?" Now, Blackie also dismissed the possibility of a reunion of the original lineup: Holmes, Lawless, guitarist Randy Piper, and drummer Tony Richards. He played on the first record before Steve Riley took over the Skins. It was going to be for an upcoming anniversary tour celebrating the release of the first album. He said, "Allow me to be unapologetic for just a moment. The band that I have now, Mike Dude is the best bass player in the world. Doug Blair is one of the best lead guitar players in the world. And let me see if I can pronounce his first name. Aquiles Priester, or yeah, it is Priester. His drumming speaks for itself. I'm fortunate enough to be in a band with world-class musicians. The guys are way better than me. And I look around sometimes during the show and I think to myself, wow, I get to play with these guys. And I'm being honest here. They're far better than me. So why want to go back to something that would be taking a step backwards?" So he's on to bigger things, Mr. Lawless is. All right, there. What do you have to say about that, YR? Prince? Prince, did you ever heard any Wasp songs or albums, by the way? Or is Prince still on the call?
Prince.
Prince, get on the call,
First
dude.
time you brought it up. Hello.
Hello, you there?
Yeah, this is the first time you brought it up.
Yeah. Wasp, you ever heard any of their music?
I never heard of them. This is
Oh,
the first
look
time
up
me
the.
hearing it.
Look, this is and look, there's few bands, and you mentioned them in this, and I don't know if you got that news article I gave you, Brown. I think it was the drummer of Skid Row talking about he would never be in this. He doesn't even want to be in the same room with someone he doesn't like. Talking about Sebastian Bach.
Yeah, maybe I think so. Yeah.
Come
Look,
on, come
y'all mentioned
on.
your Skid Rows, your Rats. Like most. I mean, Pink Floyd. I mean, at the end of the day, like Oasis, everyone's saying even Eddie Trunk said Oasis, like this comeback, and there's multiple, like four plus shows sold out at these big arenas, blah blah blah. Eddie Trunk said no other band, rock can do that in 2024, and if they could, they would be. Rolling Stones doesn't play multiple shows. I mean, they might like two, but they're really like their tours aren't like long and big. Like Oasis is, like Eddie Trunk said, Oasis is the most popular rock band in 2024 for that reason. Like Metallica, they did Friday night, Sunday night, but it split. Not multiple nights back in a row at like soccer field. Like this is Oasis. Really, I mean, that's the next whole generation. That's the whole, not generation, but that's the whole next wave. Brown is the '90s bands coming back. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
Being all together, being original, whatever. Like you can't. Like the Wasp thing. He wasn't doing a live stuff for a while, and then he came back recently. But maybe that's people. hardcore Wasp fans, they're still going to see that. But for someone who had different taste on what they want to go see concert wise, like they want to see something original. Like look at ACDC. It's Brian Johnson. It's Angus Young.
Yeah,
The rest of the members are not original members.
well, Phil Rudd is still they still had the original drummer Phil Rudd. Cliff
No, not
Burt.
live. No, not for live drumming. Look up who they don't have. They don't have any original. Not drumming, not bass player, and not rhythm guitar. It's
Well,
all
Cliff
new.
Williams is still. I guess he took some time. I'm not too. Let me see.
Yeah,
Let
look
me
it
look.
up. Their tour right now. It's only
Is
Angus and Brian Johnson is.
well, they got Stevie Young on taking over Malcolm's place, but of course that is expected. All right, let me
And
look
that's not
up.
really, that's not the draw though. Like Brian Johnson, and Angus Young are the draw. Like look at Kiss. It was Paul Stanley. It was Gene Simmons. So like, in an opinion, I mean, look at what Sammy Hagar's doing. Like I don't being there and going to that. I don't feel like that's could be, but I don't feel like that's the last tour or whatever of Sammy. I think he's gonna do that again. Maybe another time. I don't know because they were advertising more songs that they didn't play. Like there's a lot of songs that they advertised.
Mhm.
They advertised it on purpose because maybe this was going to be a last deal. I don't know, but like
Well,
a
you're
lot of songs
right.
they weren't playing. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, you're right. It's a
but what I'm trying to get to, my point is this Sammy Hagar thing. Even looking at the T-shirts, how it looks like the Van Halen logo, like that is Van Halen 2.0.
yeah.
Is the Sammy Hagar? I mean, really, if you
The
think about
Sam.
it,
Well, the van.
look
Well,
at the
if
Pantera. Look at Pantera. I mean, it's the same two members, original. You know,
well,
and
not
you might.
necessarily original. Remember, the original vocalist was Terry Glaze. The only
Well,
main
yeah,
original
but you
was
know what I'm
Rex Brown,
saying.
the
Well,
bassist.
No one cares about Terry Gray. I'm talking about Pantera for what people know Pantera. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get famous from Terry Gray. You know what I mean? I'm saying like the deal is now, which because people are dying, people are getting old, people are getting attacked, whatever the case might be, of these death or sickness of these artists. What you're getting is like two members original or famous from that band, you know, and the other members are still good names though. Like your Pantera right now is Zach Wild on guitar, Banani on drums.
Mm-hmm.
You're not, what I'm saying, like that isn't. That's what you. So I mean, you spend your money. You can choose what to do, where to go to, and if you want to go to or not, you go to it. If you don't, you don't. But I'm saying like people are missing out. Like, and I'm pretty sure most people like you, Brown, and others, seen all these bands originally back in the day, and I can't even imagine how concerts were when these bands were in their prime, blah blah blah. But to still see them now, I don't know. It's a different feeling, like witnessing history because they already cemented their
They made their
the
legacy and they
like,
continue it on years on down the line. And by the way, you are right about the
band,
current.
like if we were to see Paul Three's band, it would be a different feeling. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, because you don't know
Well,
what to expect. Blah blah blah. So
all right. And by the way, you were correct on the current live lineup of AC/DC. It's Angus Young, Brian Johnson, Stevie Young on rhythm guitarist, the nephew of Angus and Malcolm, Matt Lang, Laug, is on the drums. Chris Chaney is on the bass guitar. I don't know what happened with Cliff Williams. I'm not too sure. Got to look that up. Got to find out what happened with Phil Rudd, which is surprisingly because I didn't hear about this until you just mentioned it. But I want to get to the drone story from Green Day. Pulled off stage. I'm going to look it up on Billboard.com to find out what's going on here. Okay, here's what happened. Green Day experienced an unexpected pause in their Saviors Tour concert Wednesday evening at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. My hometown, yay! I've known about Comerica Park for years, named after a bank franchise. The group abruptly ran
Okay.
off stage just as it begun the song Long View. As the crowd continued to sing the song in the band's absence, many sources on site confirmed that it was an unauthorized drone that had been spotted hovering within sight of the stage
And,
before the sudden exit.
and Brown, I believe this was a or Lion or Detroit
Baseball.
Tigers.
Detroit
Baseball.
Tigers play there.
Obviously, it's an open. Is
It's
it
an
a retractable
it's
roof
an
or
open
is it?
stadium.
All right, all right.
Yes, it's an open stadium. Ford Field is has a roof. That's where the Detroit Lions play.
Oh, that's great. I saw that came out,
Hmm
and
It's kind of funny
they
because
did
go ahead.
they did like a 10-20 minute break, and they put it on the big screen, like not postponed, but just something like some message on there
All
about it.
right, there.
And
Give us a few minutes. We'll be back on stage. Blah blah, something like that, I
I
guess.
mean, what would you, if you were at a concert and you saw a drone come in, what would you, especially nowadays?
Mhm.
Now, I didn't realize, I don't want to say I didn't realize, but I guess people, uh, nefarious people, bad people do nefarious things when they get a hold of certain objects, I guess, like a drone. Uh, you obviously nowadays, Brown, with everything going on in the world, you don't, this is a whole new, this is a story. I mean, I've heard of like, areas where you can't fly drones, but like, I think this is maybe a first for a rock concert or a concert just in general, or maybe just any live event of it being postponed because of a drone being, and most, flown or,
Yeah, I know. It's like this is the first that I heard of. So, like, what's so bad about this
most,
drone? Does it drop in bombs or
most
anything or what?
stadiums nowadays have a retractable roof.
Hmm
Now, the ones that don't, football, or those are usually older stadiums. Now, is that Comerica Park? Is that how long has that been around, Brown? Do you know?
I forgot what year it first made its debut, but it's right across the Fox Theater, the Fillmore Theater. It's right across also Hockeytown Cafe, for what I remember. It's right across those
No,
three venues.
Shout out to the Pine Knob venue.
Hmm
Now, do you remember? Because I know you've been to the Woodlands Pavilion,
hmm
and you've been to Pine Knob Pavilion,
Yep.
and the pavilion in Dallas that I go to. Was built in 1988. The roof, I know the roof it's like a metal. It's a regular type of deal, but
hmm
the Cynthia Woods is like a tarp, like a white, like a not a blanket, but like a tarp over it. It's like a soft roof. So like the Pine Knob roof, Brown, was it
hmm
like the Woodlands or was it like a metal roof for Pine Knob, the amphitheater roof? Do you remember?
I wasn't really paying attention to the roof of the Cynthia Woods Pavilion there, but now that you mentioned it, I think the reason there was a lot more roof on Pine Knob is because, as you know, winters do occur in winter, and a lot of times the snow can build up. It could do something to the tar or the tap or whatever
Yeah.
you just mentioned called it. Because I remember there was a big snowstorm in Michigan, and the tarp that covered the Pontiac Silverdome when that place was still in existence, that went right through the tarp, snow over the seats and such. I remember seeing a news report about it. But there's
Yeah, I don't know.
hardly any snow in Texas.
I think it's I think it's part of the sound. Like the Cynthia Woods was built, I think in the later '90s, and the pavilion in Dallas. It's not. It's like in a high crime part of town. It's not a popular area. It's an older part of town. It's not a good area. So I feel like they don't put a lot of money into the venue. So a lot of stuff is just like out of date and everything. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's, I mean, a pavilion, lawn, venue. I mean, it is what it is. Like they're all pretty much about the same. But uh, I don't know. I just want to give a shout out to the Pine Knob venue. They had the video that's out there. If you can look up Sammy Hagar Pine Knob
Yep,
2024.
I remember seeing that there. I think that's where
Sound, I don't know how that guy. I mean, he had good seats, but like right up front there. But like that sound, good. And I don't know if he did something with the computer or with the sound. I don't know, or it's just that venue is really good. Brown, was
Mhm.
the sound of that venue good when you
It
used to go to?
was, yeah, it was very good. Yes. Well, I only saw it a couple of times in the 80s. One time with Iron Maiden and some other act, which unfortunately escapes me. But I do know that when other artists played, there was a lot of sound issues. In fact, Joan Rivers did a performance there. Gary Shandling, was the opening act, and Joan, had to help. She decided she would not go on the stage until the sound men were to fix that issue because a lot of people were complaining that they were unable to hear Gary Shanley.
Wow.
Yes, and so I guess they had to do a lot of work on that place, before it became the DTE Music Theater, or what was that thing coming? DTE Energy Music Theater. That's what it was for many years until we found out it was changed back to Pine Knob. But for understand, they had back then when I first saw it, they didn't have the big TV screens on each side of the stage. They didn't really have that. It was a regular sounding show whenever you went and saw a band or an artist play there. But you know what? I got to say this about in terms of the drone. If Ted Nugent was doing an outdoor performance and he were to see a drone flying up in the air, most likely he'd grab his bow and arrow and shoot that bitch off out of the sky.
That's a scary. That's a scary thing to think about, though. Like,
Yeah, the
I mean,
arrow
you would
might
really
hit the drone
like
and fall on someone's
you would.
head.
I mean, it wouldn't be. I don't think, like some. If anything like that would happen, it would definitely be some type of organization, terrorist group. Like, there's no civilians with drones with like weapons on them and stuff, right? Like,
Unless some schmo wanted to see Green Day and figure,
Prince,
hey,
no,
let's get a drone and videotape the concert from way up above. That'll be most you can post it on YouTube. Ha ha ha! I like me now, bitches. Ha ha ha! Something like that mode.
well, no, that's why they stopped the show because it's you don't know. It could have been that. It could have been. I
Mm,
mean, that's obviously why they.
all right.
It's a safety issue. You know what I'm saying? Prince, what do you think about that?
While you guys
It's
talk,
not
I
right.
gotta go take a leak. I'll be back.
That's not right. Why are you sneaking drones into a concert? You trying to get a free concert? No.
It
Fuck
is
out of here.
in the concert. It was like they were out, maybe outside in the parking lot type deal, and flew it over into the stadium.
Oh, what an asshole. What an
Isn't that
asshole.
cool?
People pay their money to see a concert. Are you gonna sit there and ruin it because you're gonna fly a fucking drone from the parking lot, you fucking kick ass? Come on now.
Yo, did
See, if
you?
I was at a Sebastian Bach concert and someone did that, I'll be pissed. Because they'll have to stop the show, which means I'm getting ripped off my fucking money because I paid a ticket to go see him. So therefore, I'm getting ripped off. So no, I don't condone it. I don't like it because it
Yo,
means people that paid their hard-working money for a ticket to go see a good show got ripped off because they had to end the show due to a fucking idiot with a drone.
I haven't. Look. I'm not. I don't know. I've never been to a concert that's. I haven't had a roof over yet. I don't do. I don't like lawn seats. I don't. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know how that would be. I might. I might have be freaked out on. I might freak out. Like, bro, that is not thing that you expect. You know?
No,
Did
it's
you
not.
ever play that clip from Eddie Trunk when I was on or no?
I saw that.
That was nice, right?
I saw that. I saw the new music for the show with Earl Brown. I like that new
You
intro.
like that? I gotta add y'all in. I gotta add you and Paul 3 in somehow. Like I need Prince. I need you to like a little. I need you to think.
My own commercial
Yours
clip.
is good, but like no, yours is good, but like I want to put 4-second video of you or something. I don't know, like something short, like a 3-second video. I want to add you in the intro.
Add the video where I was dancing back in the day with the bandana around my waist. That's good shit.
Prince, you gonna watch the football tonight or not?
I'm gonna watch some TNA actually, some wrestling tonight.
You know, did you see that John Layfield thing? That was interesting, huh? Like all like since Vince McMahon left, like all the wrestling companies besides AEW and WWE, like they're interacting. That's it. Like if WWE and
Bro,
TNA,
Mr. McMahon got a Netflix special coming soon. That's gonna be wild.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. Brown. Dr. B.
He's shitting.
Yeah, from now on the shows, we should do no cussing.
Oh, come on.
We shouldn't cuss.
Oh, come on.
You should try not to.
Come on.
No curse words. And no, but I'm serious, Prince. If you think about it, like in another 20 years, we're not going to see, you're not going to be able to see her. I mean, maybe like your huge top bands, like, you know, your Metallica's blah, 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 like that you go see now, like your Foo Fighters would be in that position. I mean, they already kind of big, but they're still doing like pavilions. And when they came to Texas like a month ago or whatever, Foo Fighters did the pavilion. So they're not doing stadiums here like Metallica, but I feel like in another 10, 20 years, like that will be your stadium. Like who's going to be the rock acts in 20 years that play stadiums, bro? Like, I mean, like the 90s stuff, obviously, you know, to an extent, because Pearl Jam's still huge and whatever, big ticket, but it's still old. Like these people are like 50 years old. So
50, 60, 70 years old.
I mean, now we have to move it in front into the 2000s bands, Brown. So maybe you can throw in. I mean, I don't want to say Korn and Slipknot because those were 90s, but you get what I'm saying. Your new metal stuff. Brown, did you play that Eddie video or no?
No, I was going to get to that. They give me a few minutes here. Blah blah blah. Give me a couple of seconds here. Okay, Wire has this on his chat. I'm going to turn the volume up, and here it goes.
The last guy took my thing of, you know, the drunk people and everything. More sorts, like smaller shows, club shows. You know, it affects us guys. But I am a younger guy, Eddie, and I do go to a lot of these shows, a lot of your favorites, and I do film the whole show and I put it on YouTube, Eddie Trunk. So don't be mad at me, but a lot of people can't go to these shows, you know, disabled people, blah, 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 older folks, whatever. So I get joy. I mean, I don't pay.
Jacob, let me ask you. Hold on, Jacob. Hold on. Let me ask you something. Do you do it when you do that? Do you do it in a way that you're at least aware that you're not, like, in other words, do you kind of try to at least keep the phone at eye level or get in a spot where you're not holding it up and it's behind the person that's behind you the whole time? Or you at least try to keep that in mind?
1,000%. Like when I go to shows, I'll buy tickets and, you know, maybe a first row of areas like the Sammy Hagar. I was front row in the back and, you know, just get away from people, sit down. I have to stand. And I do like to make conversation with people behind me, around me, and letting them know, hey, I'm going to film this whole thing. So just tap me on the shoulder if I'm in your way, or usually, you know, everyone's cool and blah, blah, blah. So, but yeah, I do that, and I hope, you know, don't get mad at me, but people do that. There's a lot of other people that film the whole thing, you know what I mean, and put it on YouTube. But I like to go on and see if I want to go to a show or not, if they're any good. Like a Don Dawkins, I might not want to do that if I watch it first, you know what I mean? So.
Well, you can get a sense of that off of a song or two, but I do understand your point, Jacob, and I am okay with it because what you're saying, you're aware of the surroundings and you're not going to do it in a way that it infringes other people who don't want to be looking around your phone to see the stage. But your point is a good one, and I've said this before. The documentation of it is, we're in a world now where I think everybody just expects everything to exist on video, and in some ways it does, because of course that's a byproduct of technology and the fact that everybody has a 4K camera in their pocket. So you are right in that, and I'm guilty of it too. If I hear about a show that something happened at, I'll immediately go to YouTube and try to pull it up. So those creators like you are important. I just think it's got to make sure it's done with respect to the people that are around you.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Most of the people think it's cool that, I'll check it out, check the channel out, and see the show. I mean, most people think it's cool, but like the drunk people, like the last guy mentioned, I mean, there's been like women pulling on my arm and like all kinds of stuff, man. And they're never gonna not take people's money to get alcohol or to sell them alcohol. But I don't know, people. You go to a show, have a couple beers, that's it. I mean, the smoking and all that is cool with me. I don't have a problem with that. And, the talking, gets annoying too. And parking maybe. I don't know, parking after the shows if it's crowded. You know what I mean? So.
Well, the cost of parking at some of these things is crazy. Thank you, Jacob.
That's true.
Appreciate it. The parking costs are just nuts. Nuts, especially on some of the stadium level shows, $100 to park. It's insane. I mean, if you're within Uber distance, you can circumvent that to some degree, but that's not always easy either. But yeah, that's, you may not have a choice but to park. You might not have a choice to get there any other way.
All right.
How much I paid for parking for Sammy Hagar?
How much?
Well, I paid, look, here's the deal. So most venues, you have to pay for parking.
Yes.
The smaller venues, like the tribute bands and like the when I saw George Lynch, like the parking's free.
Yeah.
But when there's some venues that are free, right? But then they charge for like closer parking. So like, for example, the Pavilion, the Big Dallas Pavilion, they do have a free GA parking, gated and everything. You go through the gates. But the clicker is when you leave. First of all, it's like far from the entrance. Like you can still see the venue. Like it's not like across the street or nothing. But if you pay for parking, which is $65, right next to, literally you walk a few steps and you're right up at the entrance. And leaving, see, this is the thing, leaving the concerts, leaving sporting events, leaving WWE events, leaving events, it's a pain in the ass because everyone's leaving the parking lot at the same time. So like some of these venues get smart. Yeah, they'll offer free parking, but it's going to take 30 minutes to leave the thing because half of the people are drunk. They're getting, there's one entrance and one way to leave. But if you pay for parking, they get you at 65, which odd, but I paid that because leave like 1 second and you're out and you're on the road outside of the venue. If you don't have nowhere, I don't know, like it depends. If like you have patience, then yeah, take the free parking and wait in line to leave, wait in line to get in. But yes, parking is like for the Metallica, $50 for that, Brown.
I see.
That's how much parking is. Look, like, especially if the parking area is right next to the venue, you're not going to get major places. It's at least 40 nowadays, honestly. Like what, 10 years ago or even maybe 5 years ago, before 2020, a $25 lot now is $35-$40 lot. It's like, I promise. I got the hockey game. Those are like $40-$50. If you park a couple blocks away, it's like $10. So parking is a major thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're already gonna, by like when you go buy a ticket, the extra $10, $20, whatever, don't go cheap when you want to get a seat, because
I
that
know.
rhymes reason, because you're going to end up paying a bunch for parking anyways. You're going to end up probably getting some drinks, maybe some t-shirts if you're into that, which I do. I do the $40,
I
$50
did, yes.
t-shirt.
I did that with when I saw Iron Maiden. And like I mentioned, I lucked out when it came to parking for that show because it was close right to the Woodlands Mall, as y'all know. I
Did
found a
you do
little
that, or
spot.
did you do the because I know they have a parking garage there too. Did you just park at the mall?
No, actually, I parked at this one spot that's a little bit near the business district. It costs about $5.
Oh, that's not bad that they offer that.
And you know what?
Because look,
Go ahead.
Uber, I would, if it was my choice, I'd go, because I go with concerts with friends and stuff like that. But like, some people don't, some people aren't built for like, you can't just take a random friend to concert and expect them not, like, especially if it's GA, like, you got to be ready. If you don't have a seat, you can't be drinking beers all night. You got to stay in your spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, especially older people, it's hard to, and there's older people at shows, blah, 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 but like, it's hard to take the whole family out. I mean, everything's so expensive, Brown. We know this and everything, but
It
you
is,
got to be
yeah.
prepared. You got to be prepared. If you spend $150 on a ticket, you're probably going to spend another $100 on parking, souvenirs, eating. Now, I never, and I never have, and I probably never will, ordered food at a concert. I've
No,
never done that. I
never have
do eat.
I.
Of course, I eat before. Even if I drink, like, I'd love to, and I still haven't done this yet, Brown. And I tried with the Sammy Hagar. I tried to get drunk. I snuck in my own Patron, but it
I
was just
remember you
too.
mentioned that.
It was just way too hot, Brown. Like, I was just wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And when you want to get drunk, you gotta be into it. And I know, and I feel like that's a great experience to be like not drunk, but just buzzed and just drinking alcohol and just,
Listening to the music, having a good time.
and that happens all the time, and a lot of people would do that. A lot of people get drunk at concerts for real, and I can't imagine.
Plastered. Gucci Man wasted.
No, I wouldn't never want to do that.
I know, but I remember seeing motherfuckers that got way so wasted that they couldn't contain themselves. That happened a few times at the Ritz in Roseville. Some drunk ass fool would be trying to get up on the stage because there's an all female band playing. It's like I remember one time when the band Hurricane featuring Kelly Hansen, who is now with Foreigner, they were on stage, and there was this one guy that was so tripped out on acid. In fact, the bass player and singer from King's X was sitting next to me. We were looking at this guy like, The guy eventually was escorted out of the venue, of course, thank goodness. But, it's people like that that really fuck up a good show for everyone else.
And that's where you got to be. Most shows and a lot of shows, and not big stadium, and well, it depends. Like, a lot of shows do offer GA, do offer the pit. Honestly, seat over the pit seats, and being so close to the stage like that. Besides our Judas Priest show, because that particular place was made for music and everything.
General Mission.
Well, the venue's made for music, there. So like everywhere in that place is a good sound, but like usually right next to the stage isn't the best place for sound. It's really not. For the full sound, for the full audio, the vocal, like the best place is really like wherever kind of in the middle, in the back a little bit, like so that's like, pit is a pain in the ass, man. It gets tight.
Yeah.
It gets tight. And me and Brad, we were at the Judas Priest.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Great experience that was.
Brown, you remember you helped that guy up that fainted?
Yeah, that little boy. I wanted to help him up and help It was that little boy who felt, I guess he was standing in the one position for too long, and his brain just went down on the ground and said, "You okay, kid? You all right?" So me and I believe somebody else helped the guy up and took him to the security guard, who took him backstage to see
Look,
if he was
I
okay.
1,000%. And look, and it might be a different experience being in a pit and you're not filming, and if you're just there watching, all right, I get it. But I'm
Hmm
filming, so it's kind of a pain being tight. Like I don't know, I like standing at shows. Number one,
We all do,
I
man.
like standing, but I'd pay the, it is extra, and sometimes it's not extra. Usually, the pit tickets are like not cheap.
A lot
It's
more
still but
expensive,
not,
needless to say.
on average, like say like Bush doing the greatest hits tour, pit seats.
Yep.
I think they're like $250 or something. I don't know. Pit ticket.
Wow. Holy cow, dude.
Is it worth it? Yes. Bush really is good right now. It was good last year when I saw him. Am I going to go to that show? No, because I just saw him last year. A couple $100 for a pit, depending on who the band is. It's
Mhm.
not bad. Now, I'm telling you, if you wait the day of, which people know this, they like on the Live Nation app, it gives you options to upgrade through the app now. I haven't
Mhm.
done that yet, but I seen that it was given out like you could do that, like the STP and live show.
Yes.
You could do that. Because most concerts, a lot of these pavilion, and it depends on who it is. Again, like the band Incubus is like sold out everywhere
Mm.
and stuff, and that's a hot ticket.
Interesting.
But then there's groups like that STP and live show where there was most of the seats in front that are, you would say, that were killer seats. Those are gone.
Yep.
Everything 10 row and above are gone, but like everything else is available. So yeah, you can buy a lawn, you can get what, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
On the same Hagar, I did spend like $700, but I bought like 4
Wow.
tickets, and I bought better tickets after seeing more tickets come out. So like that's really on me. I mean, I already had tickets, but those weren't like the best seats. But the other ones came out, and I was like, oh, I gotta grab those. This is one. It's once in a lifetime, like once in a lifetime type deal. Money comes and goes. Money comes and goes. It goes and comes. Money comes and goes. It goes away. It comes back. So, Brown, is there any concerts that you regret going to back in the day that you would like to see now? Like these
I
bands that
would
are still,
love.
like Prince was saying earlier, like some of these bands that should,
You know what? I would have loved to seen, and I
Right.
mentioned this before, Pink Floyd doing the original Wall performance from 1980. They only did
that's what I'm saying.
6 shows.
Look, that's what I'm saying. Like, time now, 2024, maybe 2020, because Poison's coming out in 2025. They're doing a big thing. I believe Motley Crue's doing something big in 2025 as well,
Hmm
like a U.S. tour type deal, world tour. This is the time to see the iconic groups, 70s, 80s, 90s. Like right now is the time. Um, this whole thing, Brown, with the ticketing and everything, and Ticketmaster's having legal stuff with them controlling prices, whatever the entities.
Yep.
Like there, people are the day of the upgrading deal, when like you see a lot of seats are available still. Um, it it's real. Like you can get a good deal going to a concert right now. Now, again, seeing them back in the day, Brown, you can't compare it to now. Pink Floyd, again, why can't they? I mean, they're probably so rich they don't even have to do anything ever. But
Plus, they're not, but plus
for the
Roger
people,
Waters,
obviously, tribute bands, blah blah blah. That's always going to be a thing. For people like me, I'd like to see. I'll
the
never see. I
original.
don't know, I don't know if I. You know what? I don't want to say I don't know. I probably would buy to go see the Roger Waters thing, but I'm already knowing going into it politically, I might get offended. Whatever, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not like outraged and gonna like. I just
Storm
don't
the
know.
building and
Can't tell
call them
you how I'm
out
gonna
on social media.
So I can't tell you how I'm gonna act if something political that I don't like at a concert. I might just yell, "Hey, shut up and play the song" or something. I might just hit it with that and be done with it. But I might just be
Since
silent and record it and let that be on the recording, whatever they're ranting about. I don't know how I'm gonna react, but I know it's bound to happen one of these days. A political rant that I see. I have never seen that yet
you know what,
in live.
Interesting you should mention that because at the beginning of his shows when he was doing the "This Is Not a Drill" tour a long while, I guess about a couple years ago, had a little disclaimer, a little intro saying, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For the people out there who say I like Pink Floyd but I cannot stand Roger's politics, you could fuck off right to the next bar." So
I mean, that's similar
it's
to
good to be mentioned either way, no matter what.
it's similar to the Ted Nugent stuff. Like you won't have certain political followers of certain parties or whatever going to that because well you're
You know what you're going to get into. You're going to get a lot of conservative
like
stuff
like
being
I can't
tossed
be
in
look
there.
I'm not gonna be sensitive and go out there and be, oh, I'm gonna leave the show because they're saying something I don't like. I'm not gonna take it to that extent. That might happen, but like I mean not with other people that might happen, but like I'll never do that, like leave the show because they're you know what I'm saying? They're gonna say what they have to say. You know what? Like I might just look at it like, hey, I'm recording this, so people are gonna see this on YouTube. Whatever they're saying that's controversial, because every politics is so controversial, whatever, right?
Hmm.
And I might leave it at that, Brown, or I might be pissed off and be like, oh, shut up and sing. But then you might have to deal with the drunk
The
people
backlash,
behind you
people are
try
going
to
to
hang
go
you.
after you, say for saying what you said. No, let him speak his mind, man. I agree with what he said. Blah blah blah.
Is that what they really want? Like, that's the thing. Like Ted Nugent, you kind of know, like your Pearl Jams, your obviously Roger Waters, like that yeah, it's gonna get political, like it's a thing, it's part of the show, whatever. There's some others that you might not know going into it, research, but there might be just a random night where the person's like, hey, blah 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 blah. I feel like that'll suck more. Like if I'm going into it knowing, hey, this person they might rant, blah blah blah. I might not get as pissed off. But if it's like a random thing, and again, depending, hey, they can be going for the political party that I like, and I'm probably not gonna have a problem with it. To be honest, is that me being a hypocrite? Probably so, right, Brown? Like if they're gonna, but if it's the political party I don't like, then I might get pissed off about it, and that sucks. But like it is what it is. Like again, and it depends if it's a group that I know going in. Like, hey, they're known for this. They're not famous for it, but there's been instances in the past that they've said something political, whatever. I'm not going to be as shocked. I'm not going to be as offended. Not that I get offended, but from stuff like that. But I'm just saying, it depends. It really, Brown, it really is 50-50. I mean, time
Hmm.
party that you would like. We'll
Hmm.
leave it at that. You know what I mean? Most
Yes.
of these people don't. But Prince, what do you feel about that? Like these bands that are not going to be around anymore. Do we have
They'll
to
be
get?
around.
Do we
They'll
have
be
to? Are we going to be
around.
forced to get
They'll
into
be around.
new music, new bands, new young bands? Like, come on,
They'll be around. I mean, you can always get new fans. You always get diehard fans.
man. Yeah,
Fans will always be fans.
the football game's raining out right now.
I know it's raining right here to be exact. I was going to mention, but you
Oh,
know what?
fuck it.
You know what? Here's something else I got to mention. when we saw Priest at the music hall's place back in November 2022, there, excellent show there. It was one of the best times we had together. There were so many elders my age up there, and they were bringing their kids, their grandkids to the shows, no doubt about that. So the kids were now learning the power of the priest. They were learning about the power of Black Sabbath. They were learning about the power, and they could take that on to the next level when they grow up. Say, hey, this is stuff that my dad grew up on. Let's check it out. Let's put together a band. Let's not copy,
Yeah.
but like add their influence into our music.
Most of the young, like the tribute singer for the Iron Maiden band, he was like, I mean, like I'm a younger guy or whatever, so he was like, why is younger people into the music? I don't know, some like question like that. I'm like, a lot of the young people actually play the instruments, Brown. Like a lot of them now, and they're into the
Yes.
music. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a player. Like, I'm a beginner enthusiast of the actual
Yes.
guitar instrument. Yes, like I know a lot more about that and the brands and whatever than playing it, right? Which is a shame, but it takes time. Whatever. Brian, when are you gonna get like a Gibson or
When I
Fender?
get right now as it stems, right, that's gonna take right now at this point, getting a second brand guitar is in my option right now. I'm pretty happy with the Licks guitar that I have right now, as I mentioned. And by the way, I should barely pull this out. One of the things I've been thinking about, so getting what is called an Evertune, bridge for my guitar because I removed the whammy bar from it, mainly because whenever I use it or whenever I pull a string too far, it goes out of tune. A lot of times, all the strings seem to be going out of tune, but I've been also looking into a thing called Evertune, which is a locking bridge system to keep the strings exactly in tune, no matter how hard you bend the strings.
If I took you to a Guitar Center in Florida right now, what would, and be honest, and if I would say, Brown, pick any guitar to buy, would you go for something new? Or would you go for like a vintage Gibson?
Vintage.
You have to get that,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes,
That's
vintage.
the
A
thing
lot
about the
more
guitar.
happy.
Like a guitar can last forever. You just got to have the upkeep.
Exactly. You got to upgrade it lots of times. There was this one guitar that was given to me years ago by a friend of mine back in Rosehill who was a roadie for various bands whenever they played the Ritz in Rosehill. And he gave me this guitar, which had for many years, but unfortunately it got wore out. It got, the mechanisms and the wires started crapping out. It's still in Detroit, by the way. Not really in Detroit, but I spoke to the oldest son of my ex-girlfriend. He said that the ex-girlfriend's sister has the two guitars that I had, the Strat copy and this
Did you see
brand.
that? They have the MXR pedal of Randy Rhoads now.
Ah, nice. Good to hear, man.
It looks like like the pedal MXR. It looks like distortion pedal. It's like the polka dot on it.
Yes, I remember the white polka dot that was on one of his guitars.
Need a certain amount of them.
All right,
It's
yeah.
like,
And by the way,
they're
shout out to the MXR company for making good ass pedals. I remember this thing called the Boss Bass.
Are you using the MXR pedal right now or no?
Yes, I am. I have this. It's we got it from the this Cat's Guitars place a couple years back. It's the full bore metal pedal. Check this out, everybody. Sometime soon, but right now the focus is saving up for the scheduled eye surgery in the right eye, which was confirmed. It'll be on the 25th of this month. So a lot of my money and time is going to be devoted to that. And soon afterwards, I'm going to have to possibly get some different prescription glasses and contacts and such. So all the guitar stuff and all the getting this guitar, getting that pedal, it's going to have to wait a long while. Plus, my sister contributed big time on the first surgery, so I definitely got to look on paying her back.
Brown, I'm serious. You can't, obviously after the eye stuff, you can't, and it's not hard. You just have,
Brown, do you know if they still sell the Guns
Yeah.
N' Roses what is it, the Vault? I wonder if they
I
still
do
sell
not
that.
know. I never really heard about the Guns N' Roses vault until you mentioned it, but I do
I
know
wonder
that.
if they still sell that.
Maybe
'Cause
so. I
shoot, I'm
remember
trying to
seeing.
find a way that I can get it. I
I
would
rem-
probably bid. I would probably bid for that.
I remember seeing at Walmart a new vinyl version of Appetite for Destruction, and this time they made it a double
Yes,
album,
yes, I
three
did. I remember
sides.
seeing that.
And let me guess, they went for the alternative cover with the skulls, the cross, and I believe in
Yeah.
the gatefold they had the original Robert Williams painted that was on the original cover, if I'm correct.
Prince, you never did that?
Yes.
Not yep. I figured they had to include that.
Prince, did you used to burn CDs and sell them?
No, man. No.
Brown, you used to do that?
No, I never had a CD
What is your
burner.
obsession with CDs, man?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. What I did in ninth grade in high school. I don't know why I did.
Because why I grew up with CDs. That's why. Whereas I grew up with vinyl.
I'll give you this.
I haven't even grown up with CDs or vinyl, and I'm telling you vinyl's better. You should listen to what I'm saying, bro. This is a young guy telling you vinyl's better. That should tell you something, Earl.
Yeah.
CD skipped, but there was those Walkmans that didn't skip. Like they're a little bit more expensive.
Oh, Walkmans, yes, I
There
had
was
those.
ones that were, not Walkman, but like CD players on the go.
Mm-hmm.
Headphones.
CD Walkmans.
Yes, that didn't skip. Let me tell you something, guys. A record, when it scratches, it's one thing. But when the needles, you have to start replacing the needles on the actual record player, Brown.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole different deal than, having to replace the batteries in a CD player. Or obviously you plug it in.
Well, obviously, I'm sure they'll be I know they probably sell some needles at Walmart in the entertainment section where the DVDs, the albums. I don't know. If not, look for it online.
Some record needles at Walmart. Come on, man.
Well, I'm not too sure, but like I said, it's been a long time since I had a record player. But either way,
you don't have that one that you
I do have the record player I have now that was given to me on Christmas, that I still have right here. Definitely.
It's just not as impactful, right?
Well, but you know what? It's good to listen to albums on vinyl once again, despite if it's on the 45 speed, like the Judas Priest one. But it's good to listen to vinyl once again, because back then I remember Neil Young mentioned it, with all the digital stuff, with all the digital remastering, trying to make this sound unique, trying to make this update the sound, blah blah blah. But at the same time, you kind of miss the tone of the bass, the drums, everything else, the guitar, the vocals, like you used to on the original vinyl when you used to hear it for the very first time.
France isn't like original vinyls sound different than like the new vinyls that's coming out? Isn't it different sounding too? Like we get
Most likely it is, yes, because a lot of tracks now are being remastered and issued on vinyl. Like, for example, Raw Power by Iggy and the Stooges. I love the sound of James Williams' guitar on that record. That was one of the main reasons why I bought it. The listen to the opening chords of the title cut, it was like a massive, massive power.
Why are you still there? Hold on, Brown. He's not even here. Hello?
You probably really. I just noticed he's gone. I don't know what.
Heck?
I don't know. But probably had to leave.
I don't think he likes the idea that we like vinyl over CD. I'm telling him the truth. Vinyl is really good.
Well,
my grandfather, if you don't mind me sharing, he taught me well. He said always go with vinyl because vinyl has a very clear sound, and I like the original sound. That's why I like vinyl, because it gives you that original sound. Where on a CD, it doesn't give you that original sound. It just gives you a robotic sound, like today's generation.
Like
robotic sound.
the word
that's
digital.
saying, look,
There he
you
is. He's back.
realize? Look, I don't know if, and probably obviously you can record tape to tape, like burning CDs, but like burning CDs, that's like
Nobody does that anymore, though.
can't be. No, I know, but you can't beat that though. That
And
was
at one point, wasn't it against the law to even burn CDs and sell them?
Brown. Was that?
You know what? I'm not too sure.
I thought that was like
I remember
bootleg.
hearing
That's
many
bootlegging.
rumors about that back in the day. You know,
Yeah, that's bootlegging.
yeah, something like that. You know, I remember seeing bootleg CDs of this album. That album sold at convenience stores, drugstores, out on the streets, and usually, I remember hearing about video supposed to be I remember hearing about this. They would do this on cassettes, CDs, and it usually turns out to be a different artist. That's what happened. I remember one of the members of Run DMC spoke about that. He thought it was a rap CD, and turns out to be Genesis, the top 40 version of that band. And especially, you don't really listen to that version of Genesis.
Brad, you've bought CDs that were burnt by people.
No, actually, but you know what? Actually, I was given a couple of Bird CDs. In fact, one of the cooks at the restaurant I worked at when I lived in Richmond, Michigan, he burned the entire Led Zeppelin catalog for me on the burned CD collection. And they sound pretty good. Very, very damn good. The only problem is with burned CDs on tracks which fade out into one another, there's usually about a 2-second delay of silence in between tracks when it comes to bird CDs. All right, there. So, any last words from you guys before we end the show?
We can do another hour and a half.
Yeah, I got
We should do a drama show then.
No.
No, drama is kind of like out on the patio at the moment, right? This is the main focus right
no one's
now.
interested in drama anymore, you know?
Too many lives have been wrecked as a result. Look at what happened with Bullfrog. He had to leave because of that. And I'm speaking of drama towards him.
How is he doing, by the way? How is that
No,
guy?
I haven't heard from the guy in God knows how long. The last private conversation I had with him was a couple years ago. No, I think his channel is deceased.
I wonder if he's alive though.
I think so. Yes, I believe he was. I believe he is still around. You know, just doing this thing, doing his usual stuff there. I know Mars spoke about him. You know how missing him, but you know what? It's you know, he had to leave because of all the attacks, the bullying, the bullshit that went on towards him and to his family. So, you know, it was fun when he was around.
All right. Brown, next week we're gonna do. You want to do a little actor maniac? You want to do a TV show Maniacs, a wrestling show? Y'all want to do wrestling next week, Prince?
Are you up
Haven't we done that?
Well, we haven't done a WrestleMania. We haven't done any of those other shows in a while.
Yeah, because Brown, you weren't available this Wednesday, so.
Oh yeah,
you know what?
yeah.
I got an idea. Let's do a movie madness episode talking about this movie. I want you guys to look this movie up. See if you can find it on any streaming service. The Black Hole from 1979.
I'm gonna watch that, Brown.
What up?
Can we talk about something we already know, like a list or something?
No, definitely look this up.
Wrestling. Okay, we'll do the wrestling, and I'll see if I can get Sean's view on the call.
So
we'll get Sean's view.
So the idea I mentioned is not that good.
No one's gonna. Come on.
Well, it's considered a cult classic.
He wants to do something more wrestling like. That's all.
Okay.
Where's the what streaming service is it on, Brown?
Well, you could probably look it up here on YouTube, or you could rent it, buy it. You could look on Hulu, Movies 25 or 24, as it was called. You could look it up there. Look it up. Go to Google and say, where can I watch Disney's The Black Hole?
Prince, have you seen this movie?
No, I haven't. I haven't
Oh
even heard
man,
it.
it is. It's. Let's put it this way. It was supposed to be Disney's answer
I
to
have a test
Star
question to
Wars.
ask Brown. It's
Yeah.
just a test. Kamala or Trump?
Oh, we all know the answer. Trump,
Kamala, brother.
please.
What? Don't say that.
You know, he's just joking. All
I
right,
mean,
so that'll be
don't
so
get me
next.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. Kamala's a good. She's not a bad person. It's not time for a female president. I'm not nothing against
Especially
females.
one with the description that she
It's
gave
too
years ago.
early for that, man. Why are we rushing this? It's too early.
Show next week, bro. It's debate next week. We have to do politics show, man.
Right.
Yeah, we got to do our politics show because
Yeah,
I don't understand why they're trying so hard to put a female in that office.
because that's how some of these dimwits are, no matter what. So next week, a wrestling show, correct?
And then we'll talk about the black hole too.
Okay, then we could do that. Well, in the meantime, look that movie up, watch it all the way through. It has Ernest Borgnine, Anthony Perkins, Maximilian Schell. It features voice acting from Roddy McDowell and I guess Slim Pickens did some on contributions to voice acting as well. What did the robots in that flick? Watch that movie, and I remember seeing it back in the theaters when it came out in 1979. And it was supposed to be Disney's answer to Star Wars. And what you know, years later, look what Disney ends up owning: Star Wars. All right, so that's it for tonight's episode of Music Maniacs. For YR, Prince Idol, Paul 3, and myself, everybody have a good time. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. I'll be live tomorrow night doing a power dub set here on my channel live. Come by, Drake. What up? What up?
All right. When you do those dub sets,
Yeah.
are you? Are they? You premiere them all, right?
Not always. The only ones I premiere are the ones while I'm at work.
So the ones that you go live on.
That's why they come home from work.
I'm throwing this idea out at you. Idea out. Try this. If you just maybe get more interaction during it, maybe this would be the goal, right? For that. So like, and it would be simple too. Look, so play your set, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like before, I don't know how you do it. Like, you have each different songs or whatever, but do you mash them up or do you,
No, I take one up. I take a music set, slow it down to where it's like a dub, position musically, and I add also different sounds and elements into the mix. I record it on my OBS.
This would be an idea. Like if the ones that you go live on, if you let's call it a sequence or let's call it a scene or whatever, or song, each new sequence or song, you say like, hey, this song could be about the oceans and waves because of this particular, like if you're almost like you're playing like the role of a radio DJ, like switching to the next song. Like, you get what I'm going here?
Yeah.
Like almost like DJ, like I know club DJs, like those type of DJs, they don't. I mean, like they kind of hype up the crowd in a way, maybe, but they don't really talk, right? Like, does DJ Vane talk on the mic, or does there a mic?
She doesn't. No, they just play the music and let it go at that.
Okay, so example. So like, my bad on that.
It's okay. Same thing with DJs Tom Gold and DJ Sean for the cast as well.
I feel like if I was a DJ and if I played like the house music, the dubstep and all that, I would be like, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking of like DJ Pauly D or something. Like I'm thinking like the New Jersey
Put
club.
Your hands up in the air. Is that what you're going for?
Like, hey, coming up next, folks, is is Gaga Goo, and this song is about blue
I
water.
don't, dude. No, I don't do that because that gets annoying. There was this one DJ I
You don't
remember.
like
There was this one DJ I remember, like I used to call him DJ Garbage Mouth because he was one of the top 40 type of guys who played George Michael, Two Live Crew, the top 40 stuff.
that's
Can I
cheesy?
hear?
Is that cheesy and corny to you?
Absolutely,
Oh my god,
absolutely. I
like
can't
Victor Brown
stand
stuff.
that. I just couldn't handle the music he was playing. I couldn't stand his bitch ass, and he's just like. I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad they finally got rid of him because he would play all he would play George Michael's I Want Your Sex at one point. He said, "Do you like sex? Let me hear if you like sex. Is any single ladies in the house?" You're like, let's get the crowd pumping up, but you're doing this in a rock and roll club. Come on. Turns out that's what the owner and the managers want. They want to get the crowd pumped up. They want the crowd to have fun. They always got this idea that you got to play top 40 music, though. You got to play dance music to get the crowd going. We can't play this or anything else. That's what the people want. But these are the same morons that think with mainstream purposes. And as you know, I'm not a mainstream guy.
There's a lot of it's more that it's similar to wrestling, but wrestling's more kind of hard to tell.
Mm.
But there's a lot of casual fans that go to concerts.
Yeah.
Now, depending on location, temperature, blah blah blah, and a little bit of who it is as well. All that doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you have to. I mean, Brown, you've been absolutely right this whole night. But I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, whatever. I'm just saying. I mean, you know, the vinyl stuff. Like, I respect you, Brown, for doing the vinyl, Prince with the vinyl. But there was a time, Brown, when I know you use CDs, man, and you
Yeah, I
love them.
did. Yes. In fact, I used to play them at home, but I didn't have a CD player in my car. I was driving at that time, so I recorded them on
What?
cassette.
You had a cassette player, though?
Yes, I had that just as well. I had a CD player and a cassette player. Just mostly a cassette player at my automobile or whichever which automobile I was driving at that time. Right.
All right, Brown, brother.
All right, there. So that concludes our episode of Music Maniacs. Everybody have a good Thursday evening. And shout out to the DJs at the castle. I plan on being back there this coming Saturday evening. And also tomorrow night, I'll be live once again on my channel doing a dark power dub stream. I invite everybody to come listen and hang out and check that out. All right, there. So for myself, YR, Prince Idol, and Paul 3, everybody have a good Thursday evening. Subscribe to my channel, hit that like button and notification, and do the same for YR's two channels, Entertainment Channel 360 and Master of Concerts. Do that as well, people. And we will see you